My husband cheated on me 2 weeks after the birth of our son. My husband, 30M, and I, 30F, were married for 8 years and have 2 sons together. The oldest is 2 years old, and the youngest is 5 months old. It all started when my husband started picking up more and more overnights at work, even after promising while I was pregnant with my older son that he would ask his boss to lessen the workload since we're having a baby soon. He used to FaceTime me while he was on his overnight trips, but after the birth of our older son, that stopped completely. Also, when we visit my family, who live 3 hours away from us, my husband would leave their house early in the morning and wouldn't come back until late at night. It bothered my parents and me, but I let it go. After my son's birth, he would start petty arguments with me and constantly throw the divorce card around, saying that our marriage would be so much better if I wasn't depressed and anxious all the time. I went through severe postpartum depression and anxiety after the birth of my son due to infertility and miscarriages prior. I would cry and beg him not to file for divorce and tell him that I would try to fix myself so we could have a happier marriage. He was never like this before having a baby, so I chalked it up to the stress and lack of sleep after a new baby, even though he never got up during the night nor really helped much with the baby. Fast forward to April, I received a Facebook Messenger call from a man I didn't recognize, and I'll never forget what he said to me. He told me my husband and his wife have been seeing each other for over a year, but he only recently found out. He found my husband's Facebook, which showed he was still married to me. That's how he was able to find me. I asked my husband if this was true, and he proceeded to just stare at me blankly, then said, "The marriage is over, sell the house." I later found out the woman he was cheating on me with lived less than 10 minutes away from my parents. That's where he was disappearing to when he left in the early mornings. I wailed and cried the entire night. The next day I called my dad and asked him to come pick me and my then 1-year-old son. I've been living with my parents ever since. Apparently, my husband and his affair partner were planning to leave each other's spouses and get married. I also found out that his affair partner is also illegal, so I'm sure she's only with my husband to get her green card. To make matters worse, shortly after leaving my husband, I found out that I was pregnant. Do you know what he said when I told him the news? He wanted me to abort the baby because it would be too expensive. Screw him. I went through with the pregnancy, and I now have an amazing 5-month-old. My husband was not in the delivery room and did not meet him until last week. He also did not ask me about how the pregnancy was going, how our sons were doing, or show any interest in them whatsoever. Back in November, I filed for divorce. I wanted sole custody of the kids since neither of them was ever left in his care for more than an hour, and I wanted 65% of the house. We live in an equitable distribution law state. I purchased the house with all of my savings, and I'm still paying the monthly mortgage even though I haven't been living at the house for more than a year. My husband said if he's forced to pay the mortgage, he will let it go to foreclosure. 1 week after my husband was served the divorce papers, I received an email from my lawyer's office that he's contesting the divorce. What? He's seeking half the house and 50% custody of the kids. He feels that paying $1,255 a month for 2 kids is too much money and that he has his own life to live as well. Meanwhile, he spends thousands of dollars a month on his affair partner. And the kicker? He said he's not sure if the second baby is his, so he's seeking a paternity test. What a joke. We have a court date coming up in a few weeks, and to be honest, I'm so nervous. I do not want my husband getting split custody of the kids. I can't believe this is my life now. I feel hopeless. Please tell me it gets better. Update 1. It's been tough trying to split custody of the kids. The divorce process is still ongoing and I'm not sure how long it's going to take. Whenever my ex-husband wants to see the kids, he contacts my father, and they meet up at a neutral location so he can do so. The problem is, my ex-husband is always contacting me these days to video call the boys, and I keep telling him to call my dad and video chat with the boys that way. But he says, why should he when we were married for 8 years, therefore, we can keep up with communicating for the sake of the boys. I do not want to do this. For one, when I left him a year ago, he would call and text me to harass me for leaving him and curse me out. My father nipped that in the bud and said any and all communication needed to go through him from then on. My ex-husband initially wanted me to meet with him to exchange the boys, but again, my father said absolutely not. Of course, I agree with my father as I do not feel comfortable meeting with him alone. Now my ex-husband keeps contacting me and says he will bring it up with his lawyer so that any and all communication needs to be between me and him going forward. They want to present this to the judge to approve. Is it wrong to not want to co-parent with my ex-husband and instead have everything channeled through my father? When I married him 8 years ago, I thought he was a wonderful, pious man who would always be there for his family. How things have changed since then, he is no longer that person, unfortunately. Update 2. Last night, my ex-husband called me, and I foolishly answered, thinking it was regarding our sons. He started making small talk, then eventually shifted to another topic about how our sons needed both parents in their lives, how he loved them so much, and wanted us to be together as a family. You get the picture. So then I told him no, you didn't love the kids. You threatened to quit your job to avoid paying child support, which was for the kids. You didn't meet our 5-month-old son until last month. You only saw our 2-year-old once every 6 weeks for 1 hour. And after our first son was born, you were barely home because you were too busy hooking up with your affair partner. You spent so much time cheating that I was taking care of our older son 100% of the time, alone, while also working full-time. Plus, the affair partner's husband reached out to me a couple of months ago to inform me that both my husband and his wife were very much still together. He went quiet after I said this, and then he mentioned that they weren't together anymore. So this is why he reached out. He was lonely. Mind you, my ex-husband barely had any family and no friends. Since the boys and I left, he had no one. So our sons and I were his backup plan. We were worth more than that. I'm also pretty sure he wanted us to be together only because of the financial support I was previously offering. Now that he was paying his own bills, it was too much for him. He just wanted to use me. I told him that if he had really wanted us to be a family, he should have always put us first. He should have never cheated, but it was too late for that now. I could tell he wanted to cry from the way his voice kept cracking. I was beyond the point of caring after what he put me through, and I ended the conversation by saying, "See you in court on Thursday." Update 3. Today, during the preliminary conference, the court attorney was present instead of the judge. She reviewed my ex-husband's tax return and calculated that he is supposed to be paying $1,430 in child support for our 2 kids, based on his earnings. He got so angry and said in front of everyone that he wasn't sure if our youngest son was actually his and wanted a paternity test to confirm. The court attorney laughed and then said that we're still legally married, so he is the child's legal father automatically. Then, my ex-husband said that it was a ridiculous amount of child support for 2 kids and that he was going to fight for 50-50 custody. The court attorney glared at him after he said this, and she looked like she was really holding herself back from reprimanding him. After a few moments of silence, the court attorney said that we need to put our home for sale immediately to free me from the mortgage. She told my ex-husband that he's responsible for coordinating with our realtor and getting the house ready for sale. To which he said that I should be the one to drive up 3 hours and deal with our realtor, not him. The court attorney shut that down and said he's the one living in the home for free, and she's ordering him to get the house ready for sale. He was fuming mad at this point. Update 4. After our hearing, I've gotten a slew of texts from my husband over the last couple of weeks, which included, "I wish I never met you. I can't believe I have to do all the work with the house while you sit around and do nothing. Thank God you're out of my life. I can't wait for everything to be over. Mark my words, it'll be too late when you realize you want to get back together with me. Life is not fair sometimes, but time will take care of that." Then he texted me a picture of me wearing my engagement ring the day we got engaged 9 years ago, and then said, "This could still be you, but a woman like you can't keep a man." Lastly, he sent me a picture of a birthday gift I got him 2 years ago in the trash. Update 5. Within the past few months, the news of ex-husband's cheating and our separation trickled down to his extended family members, and I was honestly blown away at the fact that all of them enabled him and looked past his cheating. They said stuff like, "Ex-husband is a good person, men will be men. You should really think twice about divorcing him over this, kids need both of their parents together. If you're selling the house, where is ex-husband going to live? You already have a huge advantage living with your parents. Your boys will grow up to hate you for breaking up their family." For the past 9 years, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law always, without fail, wished me a happy birthday. This year they didn't. I even sent sister-in-law's kids birthday presents and made sure to call them and wish them a happy birthday. I did the same for sister-in-law and mother-in-law. That ends now, of course. My mother-in-law has not spoken to me for a year after I told her I would never get back together with her son. She's never met the baby, who's turning 9 months old next week. Needless to say, I've cut every single one of my ex-husband's family out of my life. No regrets. Their loss.